The tension between the United States and Iran has once again become one of the most critical global issues in 2026. As the world watches closely, the situation in the Middle East continues to evolve, raising concerns about a potential large-scale conflict that could impact not only the region but the entire world. For decades, the relationship between the United States and Iran has been defined by mistrust, political disagreements, and strategic rivalry. The roots of this conflict go back to historical events that reshaped the political landscape of Iran and its relationship with Western powers. Over time, these tensions have been fueled by disagreements over Iran's nuclear program, its influence in the Middle East, and the role it plays in supporting allied groups across the region. In recent months, the situation has escalated significantly. Reports indicate increased military activity, rising rhetoric from both sides, and a noticeable shift in regional security dynamics. Although there is no officially declared full-scale war, the level of tension is higher than it has been in years. One of the key aspects of the current situation is the presence of what experts describe as a proxy conflict. Rather than engaging in direct warfare, both the United States and Iran appear to be involved in indirect confrontations through allied groups operating in various parts of the Middle East. These groups are active in countries such as Iraq and Syria, where they have carried out limited attacks targeting military installations and strategic positions. In Iraq, for example, there have been multiple reports of rocket and drone attacks aimed at facilities associated with U.S. forces. While many of these attacks have caused limited damage, they contribute to an ongoing cycle of tension and retaliation. Each incident increases the risk of escalation as both sides remain on high alert. The United States has responded by strengthening its military presence in the region. Naval forces have been deployed to strategic locations, and air defense systems have been reinforced. Fighter jets continue to patrol key areas, ensuring readiness in case of any sudden escalation. U.S. officials have repeatedly emphasized that their actions are defensive, aimed at protecting their forces and maintaining regional stability. On the other side, Iran has also taken significant steps to enhance its military readiness. The country has conducted military exercises, tested missile systems, and reinforced its defensive capabilities. Iranian officials have made it clear that they are prepared to respond strongly to any direct attack. The message from Tehran has been consistent: Iran will defend its sovereignty at all costs. Another major concern in the current situation is the strategic importance of the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway is one of the most critical oil shipping routes in the world. A significant portion of global oil supply passes through this region, making it a vital economic lifeline. Due to rising tensions, both U.S. and Iranian naval forces have increased their presence near the strait. This has created a highly sensitive environment where even a minor misunderstanding or miscalculation could lead to a serious confrontation. Experts warn that the risk of accidental escalation is extremely high under such conditions. The economic impact of the situation is already being felt worldwide. Oil prices have shown signs of volatility, reflecting concerns about potential supply disruptions. Financial markets are reacting cautiously, with investors closely monitoring developments in the region. Countries that rely heavily on Middle Eastern oil are particularly vulnerable to any changes in the situation. At the same time, the conflict is not limited to traditional military actions. Cyber warfare has emerged as a significant dimension of the ongoing tension. Both sides are believed to be engaged in cyber operations targeting critical infrastructure, communication systems, and strategic networks. These attacks are often difficult to detect and attribute, making them a powerful but unpredictable tool in modern warfare. The humanitarian aspect of the situation is also a growing concern. While there is no full-scale war, people living in conflict-prone areas are facing uncertainty and fear. In regions where military activity is high, civilians are at risk of displacement, shortages of basic necessities, and disruption of daily life. Humanitarian organizations are closely monitoring the situation and preparing for potential emergencies. Internationally, there have been strong calls for de-escalation. Global organizations and major powers are urging both the United States and Iran to exercise restraint and seek diplomatic solutions. Efforts are being made to reopen channels of communication, but progress has been limited so far. Diplomacy remains a possible path forward, but it is complicated by deep-rooted mistrust. Previous agreements have failed, and both sides remain cautious about entering new negotiations. However, many analysts believe that dialogue is the only viable solution to prevent further escalation. Media coverage of the situation has been intense, with constant updates and breaking news reports. However, it is important to note that not all information circulating online is accurate. Social media platforms are often filled with unverified claims, exaggerated reports, and sometimes completely false narratives. This misinformation can create confusion and unnecessary panic among the public. It is crucial for viewers and audiences to rely on credible sources and verified information when following such sensitive developments. Misinterpretation of events can lead to misunderstandings about the actual situation on the ground. Looking ahead, there are several possible scenarios. The most likely outcome in the short term is the continuation of the current pattern of tension, where both sides avoid direct confrontation but remain engaged in indirect conflicts. This controlled tension allows both nations to assert their positions without triggering a full-scale war. Another possibility is a diplomatic breakthrough, where international pressure leads to renewed negotiations. While this is a hopeful scenario, it requires significant compromises from both sides, which may not be easy to achieve. The most concerning scenario is the outbreak of a direct conflict. A single major incident, such as a large-scale attack or a significant military miscalculation, could escalate the situation rapidly. In such a case, the consequences would be severe, not only for the region but for global stability as well. In conclusion, the current situation between the United States and Iran in 2026 is highly complex and unpredictable. While there is no officially declared war, the level of tension remains dangerously high. Military readiness, proxy conflicts, economic impacts, and geopolitical dynamics all contribute to a fragile balance. The world continues to watch closely, hoping for stability while preparing for uncertainty. The coming weeks and months will be critical in determining whether the situation moves towards conflict or resolution. For now, one thing is clear: the stakes are incredibly high, and the decisions made by both nations will have far-reaching consequences for the future of global peace and security.